Hello, it's Andy. If you've been following some of my, should we say, videos regarding what I'm doing here on my property, you will know I'm building a concrete pad, and I've actually started the process. I've actually got so far as to start backfilling it with concrete, which is going to be the 3/4 dust mixture, which is going to go on top of the hardcore to give it its rigid strength. And then I've even now got to the point I've started applying a scree coat, which will give it its usable, workable top coat, which we can use in a domestic setting. And I will show you exactly where I am with it and how I've achieved it. I haven't got no footage of me actually doing the particular job, quite simply because I was doing the job and I just cracked on. But you can evidently see where I am and how I done it. And yeah, I will quickly show you all what I've done so far. Right then, this is all the sand and cement I've got left. So obviously any building works has stopped. It's a bank holiday. I can't get any more materials. So I'm going to have to wait till Tuesday. So yeah, I suppose I possibly wouldn't have done it today anyway, you know, because I'm feeling a bit broken with all that mixing by hand. But yeah, I've got a bag of straw down there because I'm getting myself ready to clean the chickens, but I'll just take you up and show you the concrete pad and where I'm at with it. Right, approaching from the steps on this side, I can actually walk on it because it is actually fully gone off. But you can start to see where we are with it, and I'll give you the reasons why I'm at this particular point and what I've done, because some people would possibly be already saying that is not how you should be doing it. So even at this stage you can possibly see why we've done it, to increase our, shall we say, living and usable area. That gravel was dead ground. You couldn't really use it for anything, putting chairs, sitting down, or even just kids playing on it or anything. It's just dead ground, and it's always shaded back there where this portion gets the sun. And on top of that, it allows us to utilise this piece of ground, which otherwise, basically, like I keep saying, is dead ground. But as you can see, if I get down, this concrete has got gravel in it, and there's hardcore underneath that, and I've used gravel to make like a 3/4 dust mixture, and yeah, it's fully gone off, but you can see around the edge I still have about 1.5 inches, and that's been built up with like a scree coat, and that gives me a surface I can actually use. This kind of surface would be alright in a farmyard, but in reality it's still rough, it's still uneven, and you can't really use it for domestic purposes. Yeah, so from here you can see I've actually put the scree top coat on. Now in theory you're supposed to do this in one complete go. I've done obviously the 3/4 dust mixture on top of the hardcore and then stopped. The reason being for that, I'm mixing by hand and it's only me, so I only have limited capacity with time and even materials and energy. So I got this bottom bit done, stopped, and I've just used the leftover bit of sand and cement to put the first bit of scree coat on. Now people are going to say there's going to be a joint which will make it not as strong. This isn't going to be used for anything heavy other than domestic purposes, but what I will do is get a slag mixture of cement with a very small bit of sand and just put along this joint here. So when I then start to put some more scree coat down, that will help bond it and take any lines or gaps fully out of it. So like a cement slag mixture will take up all that and help bond the next scree coat mixture to it. So yeah, that will all work out. But as you can see, I've achieved a nice good even level coat, which is going to be usable for us and our needs for this actual pad. I'm going to very quickly just show you how I've achieved a flat surface and allowed me to get that scree coat level and usable. So I'm very quickly going to show you how I did that. There's obviously other methods that you can use and more accurate, but this is just what I've done and how I've achieved it. So yeah, you can see what I've done, but there's probably more professional ways to do it. Firstly, I had to determine whether this wall was actually level, and if you look on the spirit level, you can see the bubble is right in the middle. So I know this wall here along here is reasonably level. It's not 100%, but it's as level as what you're going to get with an uneven tile. Coming further along, as you can see, it's reasonably level there. So I know this whole line running down here is reasonably level. So that's giving me my baseline to work from. So basically, this one along there has to be level to this one, and then obviously the back one has to be level to all of them here. So those tiles over there, they have to be level. So I'll just check them. You can see these tiles here are level here. So from here I can work out the next line, which will be across, to make sure it's level going across, so I get a level playing field when I now backfill with concrete and scree. When I was picking up timber from the shop, I actually made sure I found one piece which is as straight as I could get, and I've cut this off to the actual sizes I want, just to go across the pad. But if I lay it down across on that horizontal plane like that, that there needs to be level to give me the right rise in conjunction with the tiles over there. That'll give me the correct depth. If I put my spirit level down there, you can see that is almost as good as level as you're going to get. I mean, when you start looking at this here, because this isn't a firm, I'm not doing this in any real technical, shall we say, way. We're doing this all rough and on the cuff basically, but you still have to produce something that you can use. So yeah, so that's nigh on level, and you can see underneath the amount of room that I'm going to have to put the scree underneath. And in places it's probably 1.5 inches, and in others probably 3/4 of an inch. So as you can see, what I'm doing, I'm checking various different angles, not just straight across. I'm checking corners, and I will be doing it as best I can in all different manners to give me the best ability and chance of getting a flat pad when the scree goes on top. And you can probably start to get the gist of what I've got to do here. And as you can see, that piece of wood is touching the scree or top coat of concrete pretty much all the way along, and you can see where it's still yet to be filled. And looking down at the bubble, you can see that's nigh on in the centre, and it's as good as a amateur job is going to be. So basically you can see what I've done there has worked out. Like I said, you know, there are more professional methods, and you should be doing each bit of concrete in one complete hit, so it all technically bonds and goes off together. I didn't have that option, and you can see I'm making do the best I can, and it's working out. So I'll just quickly show you how you get that level there. Right, so how did I get this scree coat roughly level? Basically, I've tipped it in, I've got a shorter straight piece of wood, and basically I've worked it along in a very light zigzag motion to get it roughly to the level I want. It won't be accurate because obviously being a short piece of wood, you've got a lot of variation between the corners and you'll get dips and divots. But basically just work through very gently, working it all the way along to where you're roughly happy with. From there you move to the full size piece of wood, and from here you very gently, keeping it in line, and on top of that touching both end pieces of the pad you're going to use, i.e. my wood shuttering and the tiles here. That means this piece of wood is always on a level plane, so it'll always be pushing the scree level to those two outside marker points, the tiles and the wood shuttering, which we've determined are level as best we can get it. And you just basically work it back through like this. Now you keep doing that. It's probably better your tools have a slight coat of water on them, so the tools don't get scree sticking to them. And like I said, just gently work it round. You'll just have to do it in different angles. Just work it through like that, and once you've achieved roughly the level that you're looking for, get a fine haired brush, make sure this here is actually wet, and what you do is, with no weight, you just hold the end of the broom like this and you gently pull back. Like you say, you're not trying to move or level anything. All you're doing by doing this is allowing it to like get a nice smooth level coat on the top. Right, we've got rain on the way over the next few days. I'm not 100% sure on the weather forecast, so completing this top coat will depend on weather conditions, but I do want to get it done. The initial costs to this, I'm guessing without looking at my figures, it's probably set me back about £140 thereabouts roughly so far to get to what you've seen, and I'm reckoning I've got another £50 to £70 worth of possibly sand and cement. These are just rough figures I'm pulling, just guessing of what I think I've already spent. I will do a proper cost analysis once I've completed the veg garden as well, got that sorted. But yeah, it's worked out slightly dearer than I thought, but doesn't everything these days. Like I said, I've got to the point now where I can finish this and then move on to the actual veg garden bit, which is going to require, I'm possibly guessing, a lot more back-breaking work, and I'll just quickly show you why. You can clearly see all the gravel I've moved and used as part of the 3/4 dust, and this is my issue. I've got loads of this felt stuff here. Whoever put it here absolutely murdered the ground. I hate this stuff, but as you can see, I've got all this to get rid of before I can even start working on the soil. All this gravel has to be moved off and sorted through, because we have huge bits of all kind of building materials that got to be sorted and taken out of it before I can use this gravel round the back and level it off with the other gravel. So yeah, there's a lot of work involved here. So you can see this this felt stuff doesn't stop weeds. The weeds still come up through no matter what. It is actually a waste of time what people do with it. And I absolutely hate the stuff. Like I say, as soon as it gets dirty in amongst the gravel, weeds do come up through it. So yeah, I will be glad to see the back of this stuff. Well, by that you can clearly see where I'm at with the concreting project. Weather permitting, over the next week I should get that completely finished. Get that gravel moved into the back end of our property, sorted through, mixed in, re-nourish the amount of gravel we got there, and try to make a nice workable area there, and then start using that pad. I will then obviously have to move in onto the vegetable garden. I don't know what the costs are going to be incurred by setting that up. Should be extremely minimal, but till I'm there doing it, who knows. I don't want to spend a lot of money. I don't want to spend any money, to be honest with you. And for people with, you know, even just amateur building knowledge will know that by me using bagged sand in the manner that I'm doing, I've increased my costs exponentially, whereas if I'd bought it bulk, I could have cut the costs down. But I did not want to wait for a delivery, and I wanted to get the job done, and I can store bagged sand with no inconvenience to other people nearby, and indeed no inconvenience to myself. So I've paid a premium for that, and I'm guessing, like I said, possibly about 140 quid so far into this project, and I do have to get some more materials to finish, and I'm guessing between 50 and 70 pound. That's all guessing. I'm hoping it's less. I don't want to buy more products because this is hopefully the last groundworks job or big job that I've got to do to our property, and I would like to move on to other projects that I do have in my property that I do need to start moving forward to, and I would like to get back to surfing, hiking, and all things nice. But I hope you can see exactly where I'm to. I hope, you know, it gave you an idea of what I'm doing, and if nothing else, just shown you how can I put it this way, what you can do in a amateur manner. You can still achieve results. You always got to bear in mind you've got to do things kind of safely, cost effective, and with no disruption or shall we say harm that could come from what you're doing to other people. But even so, you know, they always say a world loves a trier, don't they? But anyway, you can see what I've done, and I'm going to call it a day on this video, and I'll catch you again. This is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks.